My question to you guys is, if there are 5 undefeated conference champions at the end of the year, who gets in and who gets left out? In my opinion, I think that the Big Ten, with the quality wins and the quality teams that are in there, and the Pac-12 make it in, and the other 3 could be on the fence. I'd like to hear your guys' input, though.
All right, Evan, that was a good question there. I'd like to start off with this one. I tend to agree on the fact that a Pac-12 champ unbeaten and a Big Ten champ unbeaten get in. It's also really hard for me to believe that they would leave the SEC champ out unbeaten, even if people think that the conference might be a little bit down or whatever the case is this year. SEC has shown up, right? They've shown up in the postseason. They have a great track record, and I have a belief that the committee does not like to be embarrassed. So now we're between the ACC and the Big 12. Do you take one of the big brands, more than likely the Oklahoma situation that's going on there? Do you give them a shot in there? Or are we looking at maybe a Florida State? Do we trust them? The ACC is a better conference, I think. There's better competition there, but it's hard for me to believe that they wouldn't give Oklahoma the nod.
See, but this is what I'm curious about, because the committee's been high on Florida State,
Sure.
right? And I feel like what we've learned is they don't like to move people down unless given a reason to do that. So let's just say Florida State keeps winning and they win out. There's enough of an argument for every reason you just said, Joshua, that the ACC is a bit stronger maybe than the Big 12. And it's hard for me to imagine that they move Florida State down if they continue to win the rest of the season.
They love brands, though, right? And Oklahoma is one of the most iconic, legendary programs in college football history. You're going to have the win over Texas. I mean, there is no doubt Florida State will have the better resume. But I question something as subjective as the College Football Playoff Committee when it comes to being like, well, they clearly deserve to be there, when you have a juicy Oklahoma sitting right there.
If we don't include the undefeated SEC champ, the whole thing is it's not worth anything, and we'll throw out the whole model. So we got to put SEC in there, and future SEC, Oklahoma, throw them in there. I say leave the Big Ten out, because we don't want to embarrass them on national television once again.